President William Ruto hosted Mount Kenya leaders at State House, Nairobi, in preparation for his tour of the region in the coming days. And as Seth Olale found out from leaders who attended the closed-door forum, the meeting aimed at cooling the political temperatures in the region following the head of state's dramatic fallout with his former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, leading to his impeachment in October 2024 by rolling out a number of development projects.
A week after Deputy President Kithure Kindiki hosted 54 MPs from Mount Kenya counties of Laikipia, Nyandarua, Nakuru, Kiambu, Murang'a, Kirinyaga, Nyeri, Embu, Meru and Tharaka Nithi, the legislators were hosted by President William Ruto on Thursday at State House, Nairobi. According to sources who attended the 2-hour closed-door session led by Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, top of the agenda was the scheduled President Ruto tour of Mount Kenya region in less than a month's time. The agenda of the tour being to showcase the president's development achievement in the region to counter the popularity of his former deputy Rigathi Gachagua that is perceived as incitement to the locals. In the meeting, the head of state assured the leaders from the region that Mount Kenya will not be isolated despite the political hostility against him and his government that is seen as being fanned by the impeached former DP and his sympathizers who are expected to boycott the president's visit in protest. The MPs and governors in attendance were also briefed on policy and administrative interventions taken by the government to facilitate the revitalization of agriculture value chains such as tea, coffee, milk, rice, potatoes, macadamia, miraa, moguka, and poultry. The leaders were also updated on interventions made by the national government to secure resources for completion of roads that had stalled, including the Mau Mau roads and the Kenol Marua Highway, major dams for enhancement of water distribution capacity and irrigation, construction of markets, among other projects. The president is expected to traverse Kiambu, Murang'a, Kirinyaga, Nyeri, Nyandarua, Embu, Meru, Tharaka Nithi, Nakuru and Laikipia counties. Key initiatives that will be undertaken by the president during his week-long tour of the mountain include 2 billion shillings compensation of landowners in Karatina for the construction of Kenol Marua dual carriageway, commissioning of the 30 kilometers Mathira Road, a 162 million shillings irrigation project, inspection of the 5 billion shillings Mau Mau roads in Murang'a, Nyeri and Nyandarua, and a cabinet meeting at Sagana State Lodge. But even as President Ruto prepares to climb the seemingly slippery mountain for the first time since the messy impeachment of his political nemesis Gachagua in October, some leaders are reported to have sought clarity as to how the ruling party UDA, which propelled the president to power in the region, intends to counter Gachagua's new party, expected to be unveiled in May 2025. The leaders also expect the head of state to explain to the masses why some legislators from the region were removed from the leadership of powerful parliamentary committees and their positions filled by Raila Odinga's allies, as well as the fate of promises he made to the people that have not been fulfilled for more than 2 years since he took office. Seth Olale, Citizen TV.
Now, President William Ruto's nomination of new principal secretaries on Thursday and the creation of 7 new state departments has sparked debate on the dimensions of the rapidly expanding Kenya Kwanza administration and the cost implications for taxpayers, similar to our reports.
And the Secretary General.
The 7 new state departments have added to an already large government, going contrary to President William Ruto's assurance that he will reduce the size of his government. The first of these is the State Department for Public Investments and Assets Management, which falls under the National Treasury and Economic Planning Ministry. The State Department for National Government Coordination, which is under the Office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, is also a new one in government. The Department for Justice, Human Rights and Constitutional Constitutional Affairs has been established in the Office of the Attorney General, with Judith Pareno of ODM nominated to take charge. The cost of hiring a PS is considerable, according to the Salaries and Remuneration Commission (SRC). A PS earns a gross monthly salary of 819,844 shillings, translating to an annual salary of 9.5 million shillings. PSs also enjoy favorable loan packages, including a car loan of up to 8 million shillings and a mortgage of up to 35 million shillings, both at a privileged interest rate of just 3%. These loans are payable during their tenure in office, adding another layer of financial responsibility to government. They also receive a generous medical package, which includes 10 million shillings for inpatient care, outpatient services, and maternity coverage add to a total cost, though these vary depending on individual needs. In July last year, Head of Public Service Felix Kosgei moved to actualize President William Ruto's austerity measures and wrote to the cabinet saying that the head of state had directed that the number of advisors in government be reduced by 50% with immediate effect. The number of advisors assigned to each cabinet secretary was revised from 2 to 1. Additionally, the number of personal staff attached to them will remain as set out in the Public Service Commission guidelines, being 2 staffers. The expanding of government has elicited public debate, with governance expert Professor Karuti Kanyinga saying such governments are formed by presidents who are in trouble. Professor Kanyinga compares the current broad-based arrangement to former president, the late Mwai Kibaki, who included the late Simeon Nyachae, Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta in his government. He says that the problem is that the broad-based government or inclusive governments undermine accountability, weaken institutions of governance, and are not focused on service delivery. He adds that such governments focus only on managing politics in the short term, with long-term visioning forgotten. Stephen Letos, Citizen TV.